I will be presenting on behalf of all moving members, and I've borrowed some slides and some ideas from what is being done in the different work packages. Some of you can be very familiar right now with moving because you have been following us and you have been part of our EU map, but in any case, I will do a short presentation of what is moving. As you probably know, it's a 4-year project. Moving stands for Mountain Valorization through Interconnectedness and Green Growth. And we are 23 partners coordinated by myself at the University of Córdoba. And our main objective is to build capacities and to develop relevant policy frameworks across Europe for the establishment of value chains that contribute to the resilience and sustainability of mountain areas. Initially, we put to climate change, but as far as we progress in the project, we realized that there are other very important threats that are more linked to socioeconomic drivers. Okay, our key objectives are to identify the socio-ecological factors that will shape the future of mountain value chains by 2050, to set up a European community of stakeholders to foster exchange of knowledge experience. You, all our EU map members, are part of this strategic objective, to support the policy design that enhance the resilience of mountain regions through new or upgraded value chains. That is a key issue that we are working we are working hard now that we are in the last year of the project. And as part of our legacy, building capacities of mountain regions and their stakeholders to enhance resilience to climate change, initially, as I mentioned, now to other drivers. You can see here how our consortium is distributed along 23 mountain regions in Europe, in 16 countries. I say Europe because we have also non-EU countries. And you can see all the mountain range that we are covering. That is the general approach of moving. We can see that we have worked a lot initially in creating a conceptual base and developed tools. Then we did a screening of the different value chains that are in European mountain areas, and we found the big diversity that exists. Then we did an in-depth analysis of 23 case studies where we identified a key value chain, but also what is the assemblage of this value chain with another. Then we are now in the process of doing a cross-case comparison to understand the value chain's potential, but also the value chain blocking factors, with the idea of develop a foresight analysis, multi-level and participatory, with the horizon of 2050, and from that extract important future perspective. And as I've mentioned at the beginning, final result should be very linked to a policy analysis and a policy roadmap that can establish what are the needs of policies for the sustainable and resilient future of mountain areas. And all this is done through our community of practice, because from the very beginning, moving is a multi-actor project, and our community of practice is a key asset in the project. So you can see how far are we in each of these work or task or work packages. And I will mention a little bit what have we done in the main objectives. Regarding our community of practice, it is designed as a European-wide science society policy interface and has been built upon 23 regional multi-actor platforms in each of our reference regions, and this European-level multi-actor platform that you are part of. And our objectives have been co-create and validate key research outputs and the results delivered by moving, and to exchange knowledge of experience. So as I said, that is like the big umbrella we are working in this project. And we have been quite successful. We plan to have a lower number of stakeholders involved, but as you can see, if we check both, we have almost 1,000 people involved in our community of practice. So we are very happy to have had this special buy-in for the rural mountains communities. Okay, we also have developed a conceptual framework. You can see here how it looks like. What we did was to match two different theoretical frameworks, the Ostrom framework for social ecological systems with the value chains framework. And that is how it looks like, and we are very happy that it was published in the Journal of Rural Studies recently. Another important step had been to do a participatory analysis of the vulnerability of the land use systems that are the support of our value chains in our mountain regions. So we also developed a methodological framework to do this vulnerability analysis with our stakeholders. So we have now, we have a lot of results, but I just put here some. For instance, we rank what were the drivers that the stakeholders were more worried about. And as you can see in the ranking, those linked to climate change are quite important, like changes in precipitation, positive and negative, not only drought, but also flooding, changes in temperature. We also have pests and invasive species, extreme events, but you can see here how demographic changes also play a quite important role. And we analyze trends, sensitivities, and so on. As I mentioned, we have also do what we call an extended analysis and in-depth analysis of 23 value chains. And you can see here how it looks like. We have analyzed different aspects in the different stages, from production to processing to distribution and marketing and consumption, and then try to identify which were the important territorial capital, the actors, the practices, and the different values, economic, sociocultural, and environmental values that are developed or that are in which our value chains have something to say. Now we are in the middle. Once we had all these value chains analyzed, now we are working in what we call the cross-case comparison. And for that, we cluster all our value chains in 5 different clusters and are working in a benchmarking. Our clusters are demographic and social aspects, innovation and infrastructures, and also technologies, territoriality, cooperation and governance, nature and ecosystem services, and value and quality products. And we, as I said, we are now in the process of doing this benchmarking and to analyze how value chains contribute to the sustainability and resilience of mountain areas. We have defined 7 objectives that can contribute to that. We will host some participatory workshops in Budapest next month, where we expect to discuss this with at least 50, 60 stakeholders from all of our value chains. Okay, we are also working right now in the scenario analysis for 2050, and as I mentioned, it's a multi-level analysis. So we have already done 23 participatory scenario analysis in each of our mountain reference regions, in each of our case studies, where we analyze the scenarios at territorial level. Now, in these same workshops that will be hosted next month, we will do 5 cross-case scenario analysis, 1 on each of the clusters I've already mentioned, where we will analyze the scenarios at value chain level. And then we plan to do a pan-European scenario analysis with European stakeholders that will be hosted in Brussels next January. And as I said, our policy roadmap is very important to give, to produce input to create a conducive policy environment in the European Union. So we are planning to identify which are the 10 necessary building blocks to have a more favorable and enabling environment that can unlock the power of mountain value chains to address the main drivers and the main challenges they are facing. So we are in the process of doing that. That would be ready by the end of the project, but the idea is to link it with everything we have done by now and with a special link with these clusters that we are working in, because in this cluster, from the results of this benchmarking, we expect to identify key inputs for sustainability and resilience of mountain areas. And that would be one of our final outcomes, the policy roadmap. And just to finish, I think I'm more or less on time, some final reflection, just to mention that all our results are based on participatory analysis and the involvement of our community of practice members. As you have seen, we have more than 1,000 people involved. Our results show that mountain areas have a high vulnerability to climate change effects, and the population in all the mountain regions, both at the level of natural resources and land use system, and also at the level of the value chains. But at the same time, we have identified, not we with our stakeholders, a high number of adaptation mechanisms, also in the land use system and in the value chains. Even if we have to say that the degree of feasibility or the degree of implementation is different, but we can be positive on that. And our next steps will be focused on identifying factors that enhance or hinder the sustainability and resilience of mountain areas in the short and in the long term, and on developing a policy roadmap. So just to finish, our planned work for the year that we have still ahead in the project is to do the benchmarking and the cluster analysis, to develop this stakeholder workshop, to validate results, to do the foresight exercise and the scenario modeling at the European level, to identify a repertoire of strategic options that can fit the policy roadmap. And probably we will do a scientific final conference and a final policy conference where I hope to have the opportunity to see you or to interact with you. And our project will end 31st August 2024. So thank you very much.